So if you guys have been on the internet recently, then you've probably seen this TikTok floating around of this guy showing how much money he makes on YouTube. He basically just goes over how many subscribers he has, how many views he gets, and how much money he makes from those views. We'll get into more of the details later, but he basically just shows that he earns about $2 million per year, and the most he's earned in one day was $11,000. And so obviously when people saw this, they were saying things like, making a YouTube channel, imagine how much PewDiePie makes. Okay, I'm making a YouTube channel. I'm finally gonna commit to YouTube. And basically just a bunch of people were shocked at the amount of money he's making is so much more than they expected. But in today's video, I'm going to be explaining to you guys exactly how and why Graham Stephan makes so much more money than other YouTubers. Just a little disclaimer, this video is not meant to hate on Graham in any way. The analytics that he shows in his videos are all real and he does actually earn all of that money. I just wanted to make this video to show that the analytics are drastically different from most YouTubers and to clear up some of the confusion for the people who saw the TikTok. And also, all the metrics that I'm going to talk about in this video are going to be in Canadian dollars. That's just where I live, so it's what's easiest for me, but if you want to convert these numbers to wherever you live, Google is free. Thanks and enjoy the rest of the video. So before I get into the details of Graham's analytics, I figured that I should explain how YouTubers make money in the first place. And you might be like, well, I get an ad and then they make money from it, right? And yeah, that's true, but it's a little bit more complicated than that, and I think if I explain it to you guys now, then it will be easier to understand things later. So for a long time on YouTube, they measured their revenue system using a metric called CPM, which stands for cost per mile, and it basically just goes over how much money you will earn for every 1,000 ad playbacks on a video. So basically, if you have a $5 CPM and you get 1,000 ad playbacks, then you'll get $5. But CPM was pretty difficult to estimate how much money you were going to earn because some videos are shorter and they only have one ad that plays at the beginning. Some videos are longer and have multiple ads that go all the way through. Some people have ad blockers so they don't get any ads at all, and as well as like each ad on YouTube isn't guaranteed to play every single time. So there's basically a ton of factors that go into it, and it made CPM really difficult to calculate how much money YouTubers make. But luckily earlier this year, YouTube came out with a new metric called RPM, which basically averages your earnings for every 1,000 views and gives you a number of how much money roughly you will earn for every 1,000 views. So rather than being based completely off ad playbacks, it now gives you a great views to earnings ratio. Just to clear things up, basically if you have a $2 RPM and you get 1,000 views, then you are likely going to get around $2. It could be a little higher or lower, but that's a pretty good estimate. So if you guys want to calculate a YouTuber's earnings, you can just use the equation of views divided by 1,000 multiplied by their RPM will give you their earnings. And you might be saying, well, I don't know what their RPM is, so how does that help me? And that's a fair point. Graham doesn't even show his RPM in the TikTok. But lucky for you guys, I've done a ton of research as well as going through my own analytics to figure out the RPM of different types of content on YouTube. So obviously I'm not going to go through every single YouTuber because that would be impossible, but a good way to estimate it is how advertiser friendly the content is. Starting off with less than $1 RPM, this is content that is barely monetizable. Like it has a ton of swearing, sexual content, violence. It's just barely crossing the line of being able to get monetized. Then we have YouTubers that make about 1 to 2 RPM, and this is content that is monetizable, but it's not exactly what the advertisers are looking for. And this is actually where I fit in. If you guys don't know, I have a second channel where I make educational content for a game called Valorant, and on that channel I have just over 7,000 subscribers, about 1.2 million total views across the channel, and if we look at my RPM, it's sitting at about $1.36, right between that 1 to 2 range. So why is my RPM so low? Well, it's pretty simple. Valorant is a completely free-to-play game, so the people who are watching my videos don't really have a past of spending money in the advertiser's eyes. Because Valorant doesn't cost any money, the people who are watching my videos don't have a history of spending money. But for people who make games on something like Call of Duty with that $60 price tag, they're going to be in more of a 2 to 4 RPM range. I'm pretty sure beauty channels also fit into this category because of how often they're showing off different products that their viewers are going to want to buy. And finally is the 3 to 6 RPM range. This is content that is super advertiser friendly and really appeals to the advertiser's needs. Staying on the same track of gaming content, this would be things like World of Warcraft or any subscription-based game where the players are paying a monthly fee just to play the game. So where does Graham fit in on this list? He's probably like you know, all the way at the 3rd tier, probably making that 6 RPM, right, because of how much money he was making in the video. Well, he's actually on a 4th tier. And rather than me just directly telling you his RPM and you guys having to take my word for it, I'm going to reverse engineer his TikTok and show you guys exactly what his RPM is. So throughout the TikTok, Graham shows 2 different graphs for this month. One of them shows his views for every single day, and the other one shows his earnings. When he gets to the highest peak on the view graph, we can see that he got about 700,000 views in that one day, and when he goes back to it when he's on the earnings graph, we can see that that day made him $11,000. So if we use this formula that I'll put on screen now, we can see that his 700,000 views equaling out to $11,000 means that his RPM must be $15.70. Now keep in mind, all of the metrics we were using before were in Canadian, but Graham Stephen lives in the US, and so in Canadian, that's $20.50. So yeah, Graham's RPM is $20.50, and mine is $1.36. But why is that? Why is Graham's RPM so much higher than everyone else? Well, the simple answer is Graham makes financial videos. He makes videos helping people earn money, and that goes directly down the path that the advertisers are looking for. He makes videos like My Thoughts on the Stock Market Collapse, and Why Millennials Are Financially Ruined, or The 7 Best Side Hustles to Start ASAP. The honest truth is that most people just don't make content on this kind of stuff, and I'm gonna be honest, I don't even know what the stock market is. So I'm definitely not qualified to be making videos on this kind of stuff, and the same goes for most people. My overall point is that he's just a really smart guy, and he's fitting the advertiser's needs perfectly. So I guess the overall message of this video is that when people on his TikTok are commenting things like, "I didn't expect it to be that much," well, I mean, yeah, you're kind of right. YouTubers do make a lot of money, don't get me wrong, but they just don't make as much as Graham. Just a fun little thing I thought we would do at the end. I'm going to take my analytics and see how much money I could have earned from YouTube if I had Graham's RPM. So if we take my 1.2 million views, plug it into the equation with Graham's $20.50 RPM, that's going to turn my $1,600 in earnings from YouTube all the way up to $24,600? Just chill here for a sec. I'm just gonna go learn about the stock market, the financial